There we go. Greetings and welcome to you, bravest citizens of our new world. It's me, Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius, Dr. Terwatt. This is our Layer 4.0, and today I am your benevolent and kind DM once more as we go through the Chronicles of Autometh with our A-Team, the lovely, wonderful people who've decided to join us today. And top of that list, going along the names that I've got at the bottom of the screen here, we've got Sasself playing Ophelia, our wizard mind flayer.
Hello, chat children. I seem to be not seeing our dear sweet Tomberry, so behave. Otherwise, you may get your brains munched today.
And coming in after that, we got our buddy Badger playing Knocker, the goblin, and that is a warlock. Yes, okay. I'm just like, it was a warlock, right? And I'm reading the sheet because I couldn't remember.
I'm a goblock. War gob.
Wargob. Yay! And we have our dear friend coming into play, Katsiana, the she artificer slash wizard, being played by Storm Phoenix.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you.
And we also have Star coming into play Daisy Sunwing, the fairy dragon familiar of Knocker the Goblin.
Hello.
Woo. Okay, so when last we left our intrepid heroes, Cassie playing Syces, our Banshee Bard, is unfortunately not feeling very well, so she will not be joining us here today. So big warm get well soon wishes to Cassie as she battles some bad feels back at home. So, when last we left our adventurers of the A-Team, they were speaking with the king in the room. The throne room. There we go. There we go. And yeah, you guys had just finished bringing to the king the large gem shaped like an egg and a number of other things from Ophelia's old ancestral home that was back in the woods, which has, since they have left, vanished. And what do you guys do?
Well, I mean, are we? Do you have something else for us to do? Or something?
For the time being, I ask only that you remain here in our kingdom. Myself and Ophelia will work on a ritual that will allow us to proceed. You may remain here or return to the surface. You are our guest, not our prisoner.
All right. Well, I was going to ask, but okay. Well, good ritual then, I guess.
We can only
And I guess
hope
at that
rituals.
point, we'll.
Sorry, what were you saying, Sessif?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. And does anybody else who's there have anything that they'd like to do before they head on out?
I'm good.
Okay. So Knocker, Katsiana, and Daisy are ushered out of the throne room by the sort of skeleton butler fellow, Benjamin Hyde, who has been with you. He brings you out to the front of the castle steps, and then he asks you if you guys would like to seek lodging specifically for your individual selves, or if you will be staying as a group.
Well, I guess he stays with me. But I mean, Katsiana, I don't really know you that well. Where do you normally? Are there like hotels here?
He He nods very, very happily, and he goes, well, yes, if you are more accustomed to staying in the woods, there are places in the forest that I could show you to that are, as of yet, unoccupied, where you may construct yourself a simple camp. Or, if you would like to remain within the Black City, there are several accommodative locations that I could show you to, local taverns or hostels. There's one particularly nice hotel, though I'm unsure if it will be to your liking, as well as, and he kind of gestures to Knocker the Goblin and says, there is a quarter of the city here, like a large area that we could introduce you to that has a great number of goblins already in it.
Wait, what? Other goblins? More other goblins? How many are there?
Oh, well, at our last count, it's a little over several hundred.
What?
They do tend to grow a great deal. Their lifespans, your lifespans, considerably shorter than some of the denizens who operate in the Black City here. But the homes are still plentiful. There's still space for lots of people there. It's actually been quite pleasant thus far.
I thought maybe you had just a couple. I mean, I've never met that many goblins before. I had like parents and stuff. I haven't met other time. There's not a lot of goblins out there in the...
We should go!
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Wait, do you want to come, Katsiana? Do you want to come meet other goblins?
Sounds like an adventure.
Do you like, I mean, you can stay with us if you want. I mean, would you prefer to sleep in a tree or something? I don't really know.
Well, I mean, I'd be interested in seeing what this town is like in general. I suppose the Goblin Quarter.
Oh, we can do that, or yeah. Well, let's look around. I mean, I've never been to a big place and trying.
Well, certainly. If you would like to begin with the Goblin Complex, I can bring you there, and then I can take you about through the market spaces and show you some of the accommodative locations, if that would suit you.
Ooh, you're gonna guide us around? Yeah, let's do that.
Very well. And he sort of like stands up straight and clicks his heels together and then starts jauntily walking down the steps into the town proper. Now, I'm going to switch back to Ophelia inside the space for a little bit, and then we're going to come back out to you guys. But before we do that, I just wanted to send a quick thanks to Vinx, who has donated $50 to our raffle today. Which I forgot to mention at the beginning of our stream because it's me. So we have a raffle going on today, as always. It's $5 a ticket. Each ticket gets you into each one of the polls that we have. So $5 gets you one ticket gets you into all three of the polls that we're going to be doing at the end of our stream in and around 10 to 11 p.m., depending on how late we go. We have Always Sometimes Monsters, as well as Hacknet, and finally Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, which is a very nice game, if people want to check that out. So thank you very much, Vinx, for the $15. All proceeds from these raffles, of course, go to supporting us here at Evil Incorporated. Keeps our lights on, keeps the sirens in the distance away from us, keeps food in our mouths, as well as a number of other things here to sort of keep us doing this wonderful show for you guys throughout the week.
Now, a quick question, Doc, before we move on. To those new viewers who are possibly new to your channel and possibly to Twitch, how do people go about sending in a donation?
Oh, that's right. Yes. Down below this video, you will see there is a link that is labeled Tip the Doctor, and it's got a big silver circle with like a money sign in it. If you click on that, you can donate via PayPal and credit card, and now there should also be an additional sort of function for donating via debit. That is a thing that I tried to initiate, though obviously I can't test it because it's my own channel, and it won't let me donate to myself with my own PayPal, so I have to wait. But if folks want to go ahead and have a look, please feel free. King of Cold Halls had asked, and yeah, so thank you. Yes. multiply, Doc. They multiply. So yes, bringing us back inside the throne room, Ophelia, you find yourself in the presence of the king, and he gestures to you and asks,
Would you like to begin now, or would you like more time to rest?
If you would permit me just a little bit of time, I think I would greatly like to go see my siblings. There's a few things I would like to give them as mementos from a place that they might not remember.
Of course. Return to me when you are ready to begin.
And she just kind of inclines her head. I will not be long.
he bows his head to you as well, and then returns to sitting on the large, jagged obsidian throne. Coming outside, you see that Knocker, Katsiana, and Daisy have left into town with Benjamin, and if you don't do anything else, then you make your way back to your home as per normal.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get home, is there anything in particular that you get up to?
Well, she'd go back to the tower, within the castle complex, and would just kind of look about at, like, the rest of the younger, Illithids, just kind of wandering around about their studies, not knowing what the heck she was out on, but specifically looking for her sister.
You see her tending to a small argument between two of the younger males, sort of scolding them for some outspoken behavior. And as you enter the room, she notices you, immediately lights up, and runs over quickly and throws her arms around you.
As she runs up, Ophelia just kind of holds her in a very tight embrace, kind of tighter than what would be usual for the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of unbidden, like a little, not quite a tear, but almost a tear kind of comes to Ophelia's eye, and she just doesn't really say anything and just kind of holds her tighter.
Yeah, and it's definitely like a nice thing when as you've come home and you see a lot of them running around. It's a very pleasant sight, and she's very happy to see you. She starts to immediately assault you with just a dozen questions at once, like, where have you been? What were you doing out there? Did you bring any presents? Are you hurt? Where are the rest of your friends? Are they hurt? Were you the only person to survive?
and as she continues chattering on, Ophelia just kind of silences her by telepathically speaking to her. I went home.
She freezes and does a sort of thing with the tentacles on her face that you would, like, that is your equivalent of, like, a jaw drop. Like, they all splay out in different directions. And then she's just, oh my god, why were you home? Like, did you see anyone? Was anybody there? What happened? Are you okay? Did you see anybody from our family? Like, what happened?
And it was like, shush. That's a lot of questions all at once. Just one at a time. We've told you. We're trying to teach you. We need to slow down. Not everyone can talk as fast as they think like we can.
She makes a pout, and then, like, trumps over and sits in a chair and folds her hands on her lap and goes, okay. Explain.
Okay. She drags up the nearest chair over to her, just so she knows that Ophelia's not mad at her.
Mm-hmm.
And then just kind of, like, takes her hand and starts kind of recounting bits and pieces of what went on.
Mm-hmm.
How they found it in the woods, and how the entryway looked like a large mind flayer face kind of carved out of wood and stone. How the tomb was still there, and just kind of recounting the places in there, but I just trying to go over the nostalgia of it, of the rooms and the memories that kind of came along with it.
Yeah.
But then she kind of pauses and Our people were not what... They aren't the good memories that I might have told you about. There are some good memories, but they were being controlled and under the influence of something more powerful and darker. And had we stayed...
She furrows her brow. She's, how do you mean?
You know how the king has rescued us and has guided us and taught us and given us these opportunities to kind of grow and thrive. Admittedly, a little bit less involved with some of the others, mainly because I think the trolls don't like us around so much.
And she kind of chuckles a little bit and was like, yeah.
There's another being similar to the king.
Another king?
But darker.
How does it get darker than this? And she gestures around. The whole city's made of black stone. I don't understand.
Not color. Intention.
Intention? I don't understand.
Our people served him for years. Hundreds of years. And to him we were just tools. Power. A way for him to gain more. Kept telling our ancestors promises that they would become more. That they would ascend. And get stronger if they did his will. But when the Empire came, he didn't help them. He didn't help us. Because to him, we were only pests. Tools for him to use for his own ends.
She has a worried look on her face. But what of the king now? Is he like that? Will he use us?
I don't know. But I don't think so. The fact that he is a presence here, that we can speak with him and interact with him, that he willingly brings in lost souls, sometimes literally.
Yeah, there were a lot of ghosts that one time.
Here for protection and safety, and to allow them to actually live and thrive how they want, is different from what I felt while I was there. Promise me something. And she just kind of takes her hand and squeezes it.
She nods to you. Of course, what is it?
If you ever feel a presence in your mind that you do not recognize, it's not the king, and it is not one of us. Do not listen to it. Do not follow it.
And she nods. Okay. I mean, I haven't heard anything but you and the others here. But if I do hear something else, I'll tell you immediately.
Please do. He says he still has claim to us, and he makes promises of power, of perfection. But it's lies. Listen to your own mind, more so than anything else. Because here, we are allowed to be who we want to be, instead of what someone else wants us to be for them.
I like that. And she smiles. I like that we can be our own people, but we can still help someone else.
Reaching into her bag, she pulls out a few things. First, she takes out this crumpled dress that had just kind of gotten shoved to the bottom of the bag and forgotten about after a few things.
Yeah.
She just kind of holds it up and goes, I thought this might be nice on you, a bit of a change of style than what is available to us here.
Her eyes immediately light up. She goes, whoa, he's beautiful. She gets like the grabby hands.
Yes, it's for you. It doesn't quite fit me anymore.
She like paws over it and turns it over in her hands, and her like face tentacles kind of like feel through the fabric and all along the edges of the cuffs and the collar and other things. Kara in the chat's like, wash that first, wash it.
And after she's done kind of like playing with the dress, she just kind of takes 3 small books and just kind of hands them over.
Confused, she takes the books and goes, what are these?
This is our history.
History? Oh, is it more homework? Oh, she like leans back in her chair. Would you get these from the library?
From our father.
Oh, and a very sort of serious and almost a little bit of ashamed look comes across her face. Right. Sorry. Wow. These are Dad's old books?
These are Dad's old books.
Are they
Yeah.
like journals?
Kind of. But they're more than just his. They've been handed back and written, going back a long, long ways.
Oh, wow.
And so she just kind of picks up one of them, and hands her this one. I want you to start with this one first. This is kind of our traditions. Like this is what we used to do. The traditions that we used to happen in the temple, and some of the ceremonies and things like that.
Okay.
But these other 2, don't read them just yet. Remember what I said. When you are ready to be who you are, confident in your own mind and not under the influence of someone else, then you read these.
She nods. Okay. I'll do that. Thank you.
And she just kind of pauses for a quick second and then just leans over and just gives her sister the biggest hug.
Oh. She gives you a big hug back. It was just really nice to see you again. Are you going to be heading out again soon?
Probably soon. Not just right away. The king has a special project for me. I don't know how it's going to go.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, ritual magic can be.
Oh, rituals? With the king?
Yeah.
And her eyes light up and ooh. That does sound very scary.
It just kind of squeezes her hand, like both out of excitement and nervousness, and just like. I think that's a good place maybe to switch back over to our exploratory group.
Yeah. So switching then gears from this group back to the other, as you guys are leaving the castle, you are led down through that huge market that you saw on the way in. There are just a ton of people, again, just running around, going about their daily lives as it's about mid-ish day at this point. And as per usual, you see just a lot of people doing the hustle and bustle in and around town. eventually, as you sort of twist and turn through some of the major streets, you come across a large stone, what looks like an apartment complex. So there's like large stone buildings with many matching windows sort of going up in a pattern. They go up about 15 or so stories, and a small set of these buildings have sort of been put together and then walled in. And there's a large sort of gate that goes into that area, like a large opening. And above that, you see written in sort of a hodgepodge of wood and scrap, it says Goblin Town. Now, standing to the left, you see a large minotaur, sort of leaning against the side of the thing, and he's got his arms folded in front of him, and he sort of looks around. He wears on him sort of like a big tabard that matches the same sort of color scheming as many of the undead guards you've seen walking through the town. And pinned to his left breast, you see a large sort of symbol that is like a big solid metal medallion that has a skull on it, which you've seen a lot of the guards wearing as well. Upon his back on this minotaur, you see a large two-handed maul with a big, clean head. He sort of gives you guys a stern nod as you make your way into the goblin complex.
Is that who I think it is?
Yes, it is. That's Martis. Also known from the goblins as Biggest Friend. As you guys make your way in to the courtyard where a lot of the apartment buildings face in, there are a number of goblins kind of milling about doing different things. There's a few stone tables here and there out in the open. Some of them are just talking to each other. A few of them are running around chasing one another. And in the center of the area, you see a bunch of the goblins standing in like sort of a big circular crowd around two goblins who are doing something in the middle of the courtyard.
I'd like to go invisible and just fly up above them to see what they're doing.
Sure. Knocker, Katsiana, do you guys get close to have a look as well?
Yes, definitely. I'm just having a little bit of connectivity problem with Discord.
Oh dear.
Oh, now I'm hearing you.
You good?
I'm good.
Okay,
Sorry,
cool.
Yes, I will get closer. I'll follow behind the fairy dragon.
Yeah. So as you guys get closer, Daisy, you turn invisible and sort of float above to see what's going on with all this hustle and bustle. Knocker, it's a bit difficult for you to get close, but you do manage to sort of like shoulder and wedge your way through some of the goblins to see what's happening. Katsiana, due to their shorter nature, you can see over them, so just walking up, you can kind of see what's going on. Two goblins in the middle appear to be playing some kind of game. It involves a chessboard, but includes both chess and checker pieces, as well as a few parts from the game Jacks, like the bouncy ball and the little spiked things. You see, and it's confusing, because looking at it, you see, like, one of them bounces the ball, and then grabs a few of the jacks, and then moves a few pieces, and then goes, ha! And points at the other one, and then hands the other goblin the ball and the pieces, and he grimaces back at them, and then continues. And this kind of goes back and forth, and every time something happens, apparently wildly out of order, seemingly with no structure whatsoever, there's oohs and ahs from the crowd of goblins that are standing around.
Do I know this game? Like, is this a common goblin game that like my parents would have taught me, or is this something that happens in the city?
You are unfamiliar with whatever it is that they appear to be playing.
Okay, I'm going to pay very close attention and try to understand how to play the game.
You know what? Give me a perception roll.
All right. Not my strong suit.
It is, as far as you can tell, it appears as though, like, just observing it, I mean, as far as you can tell, it seems like the rules change at random. That they're kind of making it up as they go along. Maybe because some of the other goblins seem to know what's happening. And at one point, they like bounce the ball, move one of the jacks onto the board, and then hop over it with a chess piece. And then he does like a little bit of like the ham bone on his knees and goes ha, and he points back at the other goblin and then hands him the rubber ball and a few of the jack's pieces, and the other goblin gives him a very stern look and as he looks over is trying to strategize his next move. It is just it's very strange.
Okay, I know how to play this game. I know exactly what's going on.
One of the goblins next to you goes, "Oh, you know how to play Mishmash? It's only the best goblin game in the whole kingdom."
How do I get in nexties?
Oh, well, this is a tournament championship here of Mishmash. Over there's old Hooknose, and up here, we have, Crook Ear. So, the two of them, those are our reigning champions, but if you want to play a game, I think that there might be some people playing on one of the tables. And the goblin kind of stretches up his neck and looks around. Over there, and he points over to one of the stone tables that's off to the side, where you can see some of the goblins that are there appear to have a board out and are attempting to play a game of Mishmash.
I'm going to whisper into Daisy's mind, and I'm going to say, "Together, we will be the greatest Mishmash players of all time." I'm going to make my way to that table. We'll have to work our way up from the bottom, but we're definitely going to cheat.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So you make your way over to the table that's there, and just as you're arriving, one of the goblins again sort of bounces the ball, moves one of the jack's pieces onto the table, and clack, 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 moving a few pieces around, goes ha at the other goblin, and the other goblin goes ah shit, and then walks away from the table really angrily, stomping off into the distance. And triumphantly, the one goblin stands up on the table, folds his arms, sees you approaching, and goes, "Oh, hey there, fella. Want to play a game?"
Of course I do. I'm the greatest Mishmash player of all time. I say confidently.
Give me a bluff roll.
Oh damn!
It's a crit success! Okay, that's perfect! So he goes, you absolutely blow his socks off. You're like, "I'm the greatest Mishmash player ever." And he goes, "Whoa, wow! Oh, so are you joining in the tournament late?"
Oh, yeah, they don't let me play. I'm too good.
"Oh, I believe it! Well, sure, here, come on up!" And he sort of arranges the pieces on the board in a way that appears random, but is its own way. So, like, sort of, arranges the chess and checkers pieces on the board, gets the little spiky thing set up to one side, and takes the ball and goes, "So do you got firsties, or do you want to go second?"
Well, I see that you favor the giant ogre gambit. Well, I think I'll let you go first. I don't want to overpower you right from the beginning.
And he goes, "Oh, okay. Let's see." And he kind of looking over what he's got in front of him, as far as pieces go, and goes, "Okay," and bounces the ball, and starts sort of moving some things around, trying to figure out what's going on the table.
Does the bouncing of the ball seem to have an play an important role in this? Is it like in Jax? Is it like airtime of the ball is important?
Give me another perception check.
Oh boy. Is Daisy better at that than me? Can she maybe figure it out and tell me what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, if you guys both want to roll perception separately, then perhaps one could aid the other.
Okay, good. Daisy knows what's going on.
I know exactly what's going on.
So, from what you can see, the bouncing of the ball is like integral to the turn, but it's when the ball gets to a certain height, maybe that's when they have to like grab the jacks, but only certain jacks depending on their position and the direction that they face next to the board. And then depending on which ones they grab depends on whether or not they can put that jacks on the board and which pieces can then move. How the pieces move though is wild. Like it is strangely all over the place, with sort of like it's here, it's there. They don't move like chess and checkers pieces do, but you kind of get a gist of it. And if you want, you can telepathically relay that information back to Knocker.
I do want.
Okay, so we're going to when it is finally my turn. Like basically, I think Daisy's going to try to stifle the height of his ball's bounces while making my ball bounce much higher.
Okay.
By catching
Yeah.
it and actually invisibly making it fly I'm doing a hand motion that you can't see.
Yeah.
But it's like make it fly much higher.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, they've already bounced the ball and moved his parts by the time you've kind of figured this out and then made this plan. So after he moves a few pieces around on the board, he goes, okay, and then hands the ball over to you.
Well, I see, your gambit was interesting, but I'm going to attempt the Howling Harpy gambit. And I like, do a little flourish and try to like, throw the ball as best I can, but mostly I'm just throwing it to Daisy. And we're gonna see what happens.
So you try to like bounce it off the table like they've been doing, but you want Daisy to catch it and go super high?
Exactly, yeah, like just something, and do like a little flip in the air or something like that, something amazing is seemingly impossible.
Alright, I'm gonna say, like the DC's not very high, but Daisy, give me a dex roll.
Okay.
Okay, so 13. You, as the ball bounces off the table, you catch it and you soar up and do like a little swirl around, and then you come straight down with the ball and place it on the table. While the ball is in the air, Knocker, you have loads of time to not only grab pieces, but also to perhaps move some other things around on the board. As the goblin who's in front of you, as the ball soars up into the air, the goblin in front of you follows it up with his eyes and his mouth drops open.
Excellent, yes. I'm just going to completely change the board. I have no idea how this works, so it's going to be completely random.
Okay.
And I'm going to hope for the best. And then also, I think I'll probably just steal his bag of coins, too, while he's distracted.
I can do that.
Because I can't.
Oh, you're gonna do it?
it? Okay, Daisy will do
Okay.
it. Never mind. I'll
so-
just change the board. I'll let her steal from him.
While the ball's in the air, you're gonna do some of that. Give me a sleight of hand. With advantage. I'm gonna say with advantage.
Oh, hey, all right.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
because
better
you've got Daisy helping you out. So yeah, with a 22, like the ball goes soaring up, and you you like move some pieces around, move around the jacks, do some stuff, bam, and then the ball shoom, lands next to you, and seems to like bounce up once, and you catch it like you're supposed to. The goblin across from you is just aghast with the whole situation, just completely blown away. He's like, whoa, whoa, what? That was insane! And he looks at the board, he goes, whoa, what even happened?
Yeah, I'll just knit my fingers behind my head and kind of lean back and go like, that's how it's done.
He goes, wow, that was a great move. Oh, okay, well let me see what I can do then. Let's see if I can pull this one back. And he takes the red ball and he goes to bounce it off the table. And Daisy, you want to try and block it, like make it
I'd
bounce
like to
super
try
low.
and- Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm gonna say, give me another dexterity roll. All right, 18. So you see him bounce the ball, and you just lift one of your feet, kick it back down, no more than maybe a foot and a half above the table. And as he bounces it, he doesn't even get a chance to reach for one of the jacks before it bounces back down again. And his eyes just go super wide, and he catches the ball and goes, flabbergasted and goes, well, okay, and he hands the ball to you for your turn.
It's okay, little buddy. You just keep trying, and you'll get better at the game. Don't worry about it. And yeah, I'm going to continue with the play and cheat as hard and as much as possible.
So, just to moving forward, it's super fast and interesting as you guys continue to go. I'm going to let your rolls carry for the rest of this match at the very least. And as you guys go along, you manage to just sort of figure it out as you're playing, how the rules work and how the game sort of constructs and fits itself. And you, using this method, steamroll this guy. And at the end, he just goes, well, shit, you got me. That's a good game. That's a good game there, pal. What's your name?
I'm Knocker. Don't forget it.
Well, I sure won't. You're really good at this. Oh boy, it's a good thing you made it in time for the tournament. And he holds his hand out to shake and goes, I'm Booger.
Good to meet you, Boog.
Oh, great. And gives your hand a little shake. He's very excited. And he goes, well, I don't know. I can try to bring you around to the tournament, folks. We'll see if we can get you in the roster. And he hops off the little table and waddles off. Do you follow along with him?
Yeah, I'll follow him. I'll get into this tournament. If I can grift all the goblins, I will. I'll be the greatest goblin mishmash player of all time. This made-up game that I just learned about today.
So he takes you over to a table, and at the table you are introduced to a couple of people, one of whom is another goblin who's wearing a large pair of just Coke bottle spectacles, going over some paperwork, and sitting at the table next to him is an orc who she just looks wildly disinterested and entirely bored with everything that's going on. And as you are approaching with Booger, she eyes the two of you as you're approaching and goes, oh god, not more. What is it, Booger? And Booger goes, oh, I got another one here. His name's Knocker. He's so good at this, you wouldn't believe it. And the orc just goes, I don't care. I don't know why I got assigned this. And she looks over to the other goblin and goes, Specs, it's you. You're up. And she gives him like a shove. And he goes, huh? And he sort of crawls to the edge of the table and peers down at you with his huge glasses and goes, so you're really good at mishmash, huh?
Some say I'm the greatest the game has ever seen.
Ah, well, I mean, apparently you managed to beat Booger, and that's no small feat, I suppose. And he straightens himself up, standing on the table triumphantly, and he goes, well, let's see if we've got room for you in the roster. Let's see over here. And he sort of moving some papers around. I don't know if your character can read.
There's a very, very good chance that he cannot.
Yeah, so either way, what appears to be written on the papers that he's got in front of them are more scribbles and symbols and representation of people, rather than actual writing itself. So he sort of goes through it.
Writing.
Yeah, he goes through it and then writes your name down on one of the sheets and goes, okay, so up next you're gonna be going up against that table over there. We'll have you seated, and you'll be going up against Clars, and then let's see who we've got next on this here. Julie. Yeah, you'll go, so Clars and then Julie, and then you'll be moving. And he kind of goes down the list, and you, Knocker, officially enter yourself into the Mishmash Championship of whatever seems to be happening today.
All right, Daisy, this is our finest victory yet.
It will be indeed.
Pulling back for a brief moment, moving back into the large towers where Ophelia was sitting with her family. What are you getting up to during this time that you're here? Or what do you get up to next?
Well, other than just kind of quickly just touching base with the boys and just kind of checking in on their studies, seeing how they're doing, talking to Unla and figuring out, what's happened in the last few weeks that she's been gone. She wouldn't kind of wait around too much. She'd go to her room, put some of her extra belongings that she wouldn't need, and then just kind of take the egg-shaped gem, the large tome that she had, and kind of the king's eye and any little other bits and bobs she uses for her spells, and make her way back to the throne room.
All right. So going through all the stuff that you have with you, like, yeah, you inspect over everything. Is there anything that you have any questions about? Anything from the items that you gained?
Not much more than what you had already sent me. Everything kind of seems to be making sense. Those history books are the ones that I passed on to the sister.
Okay. So slowly, as you make your way across town, you make your way back to the Palace of Falling Leaves, and
Quick question. I thought the tower that we lived in was within the main palace walls.
It's within the sort of upper cloister, so the area where some of the nicer buildings are held. Yes, but not directly within the palace.
Yep.
All right. So, as you make your way back to the great and large castle, you're ushered in back through the opening of the large obsidian gates and down through a series of hallways, as is normal from what you remember. And once again, you are ushered into the throne room. Sitting patiently upon his throne, you see the Black King. He stands as you enter, and makes his way across the throne room towards you.
Are you prepared?
And she just nods and then just holds the egg out and I don't know where we're going to begin, but I will follow your lead.
He nods to you.
Follow me.
And sort of makes his way around you, leaving you in possession of the egg. Leads you down a series of long corridors and deeper passages that seem to go down further beneath the palace, bringing you further and further deeper in until he brings you to a large ritual chamber that seems to be down below the castle itself. He gestures to the large sort of stone circle that's in the center of the room that has like a sort of hewn pool built into it. Amidst all of the fancy stonework, this appears to be relatively cruel sort of stonework that surrounds the tiny pool that's just at the middle there.
This is where we will be conducting our rituals. Do you have any questions so far?
As I walk into the room, can I just cast an Arcana check?
Yeah, do it. 22. Oh man. So
Nice.
a dirty 22. As you're
just
getting...
before we get to that, no, Kara, I have not keeping track of donations, unfortunately, because I'm in the middle of playing the game.
Yes. We will find out, Kara. I will be revealing what the 600 mark is tomorrow. And the 800 mark, if we hit that today, we will see. Excuse me. So, getting down further into the deep and sort of dark area, you find yourself, as I said, into this really large, very ornate ritual room, and you reach out with your arcane senses to sort of feel out the area to see if you can figure out what this space is for, or what it is, or what is going on here. You feel that sort of resonance, that vibration, that energy that comes off of the king. You feel it so much more intensely in this room, and as you reach around with your senses, that little pool that exists in the center of this room appears to be its focal point.
As she walks into the room, her pace kind of slows, almost as if she's having a hard time kind of walking through the space. Kind of that same feeling of when you guys are at a concert, if you're right in front of a big speaker, it feels almost as if like you're having a hard time walking through because the air is literally being pushed up against you.
Yeah, like it's that vibration, that constant sort of assaulting through your body.
Yeah.
The mark that the king has placed on you before that allows that energy to sort of pass through and within you, you definitely feel it almost light up on you as you enter this space.
Kind of putting a hand kind of on her chest where it is, completely unconsciously. She stares at the pool as she walks in, not quite 100% hearing what the king is saying, and takes a few steps almost towards it as if she's drawn to it.
Yeah, he kind of just watches as you enter the room, and you sort of step into the circle and you walk towards the little pool that's in the middle, and it is so strange to you because, like, the circle that's around it, the stonework and the construction, the stonework on the pillars and the emblems on the walls, the ritual tables that are along the sides of the room, all of it is so ornate, so meticulously crafted, but the edges of this pool are so raw and unhewn stone. And the little pool of water seems like it's the size of a bird bath, like it seems very small and unassuming and strangely out of place for the rest of the room.
How am I allowed to, does he let me walk up to the pool entirely?
Mm-hmm. As you approach the pool, he steps up and stands just inside the edges of the ritual circle.
Semi-aware of his eyes on her, Ophelia will kind of kneel down next to the pool, and hesitantly just kind of run her fingers over that kind of natural stone edge. At the same time, Seth will actually kind of crawl down her arm and also kind of sit on the edge of the pool, gazing down into it.
He like kind of like flops down to the edge of the pool and places his little tentacles just on the sides of it.
This is the heart of Automath. All entities like myself have realms to which they call home. These realms often reflect the energies that they call upon. You hold in your possession something that could interact with the heart of Umalaut. I had to retrieve this item both because I wanted to see that you were able to survive an encounter with your past, as well as we can turn this empty jewel, this thirsting item, into something that will perhaps capture Umalaut and bring him to us. But this space here I have built around the heart, the center of our kingdom.
Oh, sorry, I'm coughing a lot.
As he kind of alludes as to how important this is, she quickly pulls her fingers back from where she was about to touch the water and turns to him with kind of eyes wide. Why would you ever allow anyone in here? If it's that important, this should be protected by your highest guard. And then she just kind of looks out of the corner of her eye and just kind of mentally, telepathically talks. Seth, don't touch it. Stop.
Seth looks up at you very innocently and like holds up two tentacles in front of himself like, I wasn't touching it. Like, he just kind of sort of flops in place a little bit.
This far into our sanctuary, we have no need for guards. None who come this far in so far have lived to tell the tale. This space is my private sanctuary, where I perform some of my deepest and most complex magics.
He gestures up to some of the emblems that are on the wall and then down to the ritual tables that adorn the sides of the room.
I spend many hours here, working away, ensuring safety for our people. And it is here that we will continue to assure their future and their safety.
I'm absolutely honored that you would allow me to enter a place like this and to assist you with something so important and powerful. I'm not sure how much help I can be.
He nods to you.
Knowing one's own limits is a wisdom few possess. That being said, you are still far from being able to perform complex rituals such as these. You will be assisting me in a few capacities here. One, I will be teaching you some of this magic, how it works, how it flows, in the hopes that you may be able to use it in the future to aid others in our kingdom. But more primarily, at least today, you will also be a focal point of this ritual. You will be carrying these energies, the hopes of our kingdom, and this magic deep into enemy territory. You will be entering another Underlord's kingdom. I ask much of you so early on, but unfortunately time is not something that we have a luxury of.
Oh, excuse me. The flames in his eyes take on a shape that almost you would perhaps construe as sadness.
I ask much of you, so I must place within you an equal amount of trust. So you are here.
And he opens his arms to gesture to the room as a whole.
Sorry, just thinking.
Yep. I'm going to step away from my mic just a quick sec. Don't worry, for everybody that's worried in the chat, I'm not getting tickets to the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. I'm going to be fine.
Which hilariously canceled the actual Backstreet Boys reunion tour.
Yep. I think that's why the Game Grumps called it that, because it was a thing that was supposed to happen, but they can't talk about the pandemic on YouTube, because then their videos would automatically be demonetized, so they just call it the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. Don't get tickets, because if you get tickets, then everyone else near you will also want tickets, and everyone will be rushing out to get tickets to the Backstreet Boys.
What, seriously? That's a thing?
That's a thing that the Game Grumps are doing, yeah. They've been doing it since the pandemic started.
Since, like, day one of quarantine. It's been hilarious.
Amazing.
Okay, so, first off, out of character, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Back in character, Ophelia just kind of like... If you could see a Mind Flayer kind of like do that nervous gulp as the king is explaining of how she's going to be the focal point of all of these really powerful energies. She would. She just kind of like mentally takes a deep breath. I will aim to do the best that I can.
I am sure that you will perform admirably. Before we begin, I'm sure you have questions.
What is your relationship to Umalaud?
He pauses for a while.
It is difficult to explain. Umlaut and I are of a number of entities, similar but different. We are colloquially known as underlords. That is the common or layman's term for entities such as ourselves. We are not gods, though some revere entities like us as such.
Yes, like my people did.
Indeed, as well as some choose to do here. However, there was a time when we were not as such. We knew each other once, a long time ago.
And he kind of looks down at the pool and goes silent for a little while.
If our people were servants of Umalaut, and from what he claims, there's still a mark on all of us of his, why is it that you trust me with something so delicate?
I firmly believe in willpower. That subverting the will of living creatures is not often something that can be done so easily. You are from their realm, the Abyss. He is an extraordinarily powerful being that also hails from the Abyss. He claims many things, that he created you, that he owns you, but in truth, what has actually happened is he shepherded your people into this world along with other creatures and brought you to this continent to serve his own twisted ends. He is a creature of a great many lies, though it can be difficult to tell which are the truth, because on occasion he will speak truthfully of his strength, and that can come at a cost if he is underestimated. You will be the instrument of his destruction, the keystone upon which his kingdom will fall, and it will be his underestimation of your continued existence that will bring about this death.
And with that, her tentacles will kind of like flit about, almost as like in a kind of smirk reaction, as her hand kind of falls to the hilt of this very large dagger, kind of now sitting on her belt, and just kind of gestures to her new robes. To anyone who wasn't here last session, is wearing ceremonial robes of her father.
Mm-hmm. As they
I
didn't
think
originally quite fit you, they have been refit, though. Like they've been tailored in.
I think it's only fitting that we start the process of bringing him down a peg while wearing his regalia, meant to give him praise, but perhaps we can turn it on its head.
The crown that sits above his head sort of lights up and burns a lot brighter, the flames sort of reaching a bit higher in the room as he looks down at you.
Yes. So too will you be the instrument of his destruction. We shall then be able to move forward with our other plans, complex though they may be.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, due to the complexity of what we are going to be doing step by step, I will only be able to allude to you what we are doing in the moment. We are now doing these rituals. I will explain to you how these rituals can be carried out when they need to be carried out. I cannot allude to some of our plans or other things that we are working on going forward. You having this knowledge puts you at greater risk than normal. Do you trust me?
I have trusted you with my life since the moment I opened that.
He nods.
Good. Then we shall begin.
And with that, we return to the exciting Mishmash tournament that is going on in the marketplace. Alright. So, while you've been out there, getting along and through all of these games of Mishmash, it has been tremendously exciting. And you've been deploying sort of the same strategy for several games in a row. You bounce the ball, Daisy carries the ball really high into the sky, and you manage to make sort of a mess of whatever the board was, move some things around, make some stuff happen. However, every time that you move on to another area, the ball going super high is a thing that, obviously, when one of the goblins sees it, if you go to do it again, some of the goblins don't watch the ball go up. Some of them keep their eyes on you. So if you could give me another sleight of hand check to see if you guys are keeping up. Dexterity from Daisy and sleight of hand from Knocker. Damn. So Daisy's on it with the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daisy's not messing.
Daisy ain't fucking around.
You need dexterity for me, or sleight of...
Sleight of hand. Yes, I did.
Ben, roll a sleight of hand.
I think he's looking for it.
He said he did.
Oh, he did? Has
Yeah,
it not
it
shown up yet?
did. It's did not come. What? That's weird.
It's not coming up.
Yeah, my internet's might be acting out, like on my computer for some reason.
It's very strange.
Let me just. I got a 4 anyway. I got a 14. I'm gonna refresh my.
Okay. Yeah, because it doesn't, like, it rolled it, but it didn't communicate and bring that information through on either of my screens, because I've got two windows for this open, and it did not
Yeah, it
seem
didn't
to...
come through here either.
Damn.
But it was a 14.
Okay, well, we'll just go with it. We'll just say that it was, here we go, 14. We'll just write that down. So, the ball bouncing around, absolutely flawless. The sort of movements that you're doing, like you're aware that there are a couple of these goblins that are continuing to watch you now, like the sort of shock and awe of the ball going super high doesn't really catch on to them the fourth or fifth time around. So you employ a bit of sleight of hand as you're moving pieces around. You're very quick, you kind of do a little bit of jazz with your left hand to keep people's eyes away from what you're doing with your right, vice versa. You're da-da-da-da-da-da, and you manage to make your way through the next few rounds. Though there appear to be two separate goblins who are watching you very closely as you move on to the semi-finals. There are a pair of goblins now who kind of watch from both sides of the ring, who are very intently having a look at what you're doing. Do you guys want to continue to employ your strategy into this next semi-final round? Or do you want to come up with a new strategy? Or do you want to try to play this game honestly?
I'm just dictating to Ben here because he's having some technical difficulties.
Oh, crumbs.
We're gonna go big or go home.
Perfect.
I know, obviously that means cheating. Yeah, obviously cheating.
All right, cool. So as you guys are at it, you continue this. Now for the semifinals, I'm gonna have you do separate rolls for the semifinals and the finals. So give me another dexterity roll, Daisy, and Knocker, give me another sleight of hand.
So we've decided to up the ante as they're getting further into the tournament, and it's going to become more and more challenging.
Okay.
We're gonna do an extra bonus, and so Daisy, of course, being invisible, is going to fly over to me so I can surreptitiously cast guidance on her in between ball bounces to give her a plus to her dexterity rolls.
Oh, you guys are taking it up. Okay. All right, let's do that. Okay. So yeah, if you figure out like what your bonuses are, you can just do a slash roll 1d20 plus, and then add your additives on and just do it as a custom roll if there's nothing on your sheet that can do that sort of natively.
So it'll be plus an extra d4. I'll link the guidance.
Okay, cool.
Is there some way that illusions could help us here? Because I can cast illusions at will, like pretty intense illusions.
You know what? If you want to try to use your at-will illusion magics, you can try to... I'm gonna say go for it. Like, when you do your sleight of hand roll, make it with advantage. Oh, shit. So crit success on the dexterity. So Daisy is on it with the ball, with an extra 2. So you're in great shape. And actually, to answer your question, Calendros, at this time, Benjamin is just standing inside the gates of Goblin Town, sort of surveying the presence of these people here.
Okay.
Alright, and let's get a sleight of hand roll with advantage from our good boy Knocker.
Yeah, again, I'm not connected to Roll20. Oh my god, hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
That's
Let
wild.
me see if I can get this working.
That's okay, man. Take your time. Do what you gotta do.
Just having some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
All right, so I rolled. Yeah, I don't know. I rolled a couple dice, and we'll see what.
I think he needs to turn it off and turn it on again.
Yeah, he might need to. That's okay. It's peaceful again. It's 22! My goodness! Alright, so...
Yeah, we're not messing around here.
You absolutely, like, using just a little bit of your illusion magic to assist your sleight of hand. You manage to, like, swirl and move your hands around, moving your pieces, and you sort of, like, you duplicate one of the pieces as you move it, and it sort of throws off the two people that are trying to watch you to see what's going on, because you have this, like, undefeated win streak, and it's wild. But you do make it to the end of that round, entirely the victor. And so you make your way now to the final round.
This is it, Daisy. We can do this.
I believe in us!
Walking up to the center of the plaza, this is where they play the mishmash right on the ground. A whole bunch of goblins and other small creatures like kobolds and such have made a huge crowd encircling this particular space. Standing in the center of the area, across the board from you, is a very smug-looking goblin. He's got his arms folded. He's looking very confident. And he goes, "So, you're the up-and-coming champion, huh?"
Well, I mean, you know, in my circles, in my hometown, I'm already a champion. You just don't quite know about me yet.
And he smiles and he goes, "Yeah, all right. I always did enjoy a good challenge. Let's see what you got. You're going up against a mishmash champion, Crook." And he taps his crooked nose as he says it. And one of the other goblins makes his way into the circle and goes, "Okay, we're gonna do a coin toss, and we're gonna see if it's who goes first. Yeah, that's it." And he takes out a gold piece and goes, "Call it in the air. Crowns or fields?" And he tosses the coin up into the air.
Who's calling it? Is it me or the other guy?
He didn't specify when he flipped the coin.
I'm gonna yell crowns, and then I'm gonna think to Daisy, crowns, crowns, crowns.
Alright.
And the goblin holds his hand out. Do you try to fudge the outcome of the flip?
Yeah.
Give me a dexterity roll. Jesus Christ. So yeah, as the coin's flipping down, you make sure it lands crown side up. And the other goblin goes, "Okay, I was gonna call crowns, but alright. And he tosses you the rubber ball and goes, "Let's see what you got, Slick." Alright. Do you guys want to continue your current situation here?
Yeah, but while I toss the ball as a distraction, I'm gonna toss the ball, and almost like I'm gonna try to throw it in slow motion. Like I'm gonna make myself look like I'm throwing it in slow motion. Like I'm gonna pretend like I'm throwing it, and as I throw it in slow motion, I'm going to use my silent image to make the image of like a flock of white doves in slow motion behind me appear as I throw the ball down, and I want Daisy to, in slow motion, bounce the ball. Like, I want it to seem the most epic thing that has ever happened as I throw the ball.
So you, if I understand this correctly, you are throwing the ball, and a flock of birds is coming out from behind you.
Yeah, it's a flock of white doves. I'm gonna fully John Woo this situation.
Okay. I'm gonna have to ask you to roll me a performance check to make sure that all this wacky stuff that you're doing with your magic is gonna go off without a hitch.
Excellent.
Jesus. All right, so with a 20, you absolutely pull this off. Like, you, do this, and out from behind you, like, this fucking whole fucking thing of birds comes out, and you bounce the ball, and it goes way up. Daisy, give me a dex save to see if you guys can pull off this trick. A 12. You, as the ball's coming up, you grab it, you go up, you do like your usual flurl and finish, and you just lose grip of the ball. However, at that height, the ball just falls back towards the ground.
I also get a +4
Yep.
for the, yeah, okay.
So at a 16, you're just shy of the DC for this one at the finals. And as you bounce that ball, it goes way up, and you catch it, you go up with it, you do your, like, flips and stuff, and the crowd's like, "Whoa, how does he do that? He must be putting some kind of, like, spin on it or something." And as
It's
you're
all
doing
spin,
the flip,
baby.
it slips out of your hands. Like, it's strange that happens, but it slips out of your fingers and comes rocketing back towards the ground. Do you let it go back towards your partner, or do you attempt to catch it on the way down to control its descent?
Can I cast Mage Hand to catch it?
The mage hand is visible.
Is visible, yeah.
Okay, so never mind. I'll dive for it.
All right. As you dive for it, you know what? I want to give you another chance, but I'm trying to think as to what that would be. If that would be athletics or if that would be another dex save. Acrobatics is not on your
It
sheet.
is not. I basically have Arcana, Perception, and Stealth, and the rest is just
basic
whatever
skills.
you
Yeah,
assign.
give me another dex. Give me another dex with a +4.
Can
What
I try to
extra D4?
grandstand to like distract the audience while she's doing that?
I mean, you already released this huge thing of doves, so, I mean, all they see is the ball goes up, it twirls around, and then starts coming down towards the ground, and then as it's coming down towards the ground, suddenly it, like, does an extra, like, swirl, like a corkscrew into the spot, where it then, boing, harmlessly
That's
bounces
how gravity
across the
works.
ground. Yeah, and then you catch the ball. Now, give me a sleight of hand with advantage for your half of this ruse, which was doing all kinds of wacky shit.
Wait, sorry, did you say me?
Yeah. That's right. Let's get Knocker to do a sleight of hand. All right. So, you, while
I'm
all
not
this is
actually
going
good at
on,
any of this.
well, you had advantage, so that you got your 22, because
Oh,
you're
good.
using your magic and your friend with you here, so you had the extra time. She didn't flub it as it, like, entirely, so as it was coming down, she managed to catch it and control it back in. So you, like, absolutely, while all this stuff is going on, and a bunch of the goblins and kobolds are like, where did he keep all those birds? Like, what? This is nuts! Like, they're just going crazy. And you're like, wah, and you do a whole bunch of stuff, and the ball bounces up, and you catch it, and you go, hand it over to to Crook, who's across from you. He, smiling slyly as you hand him the ball, and he goes, okay, I see, all right. Well, let's see how you handle this. And I want you to roll me a perception, Knocker.
Uh-oh.
Burbs? That's a 3.
I was watching the birds.
You're watching all the birds.
I got distracted by my own distraction.
Can I keep an eye on him?
Yeah, roll me a perception as well, because you're also there. Okay. And, you know what? Cassiana, you were also there, so you can roll perception if you are close by and watching.
Find the perception button.
What's that?
Yeah, looking for my perception here.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's not great.
16. Okay, so, Katsiana, you see, as Crook is sort of like passing the ball back and forth between his hands, he palms it with one hand, and then what he throws back to his right hand to throw down on the ground is not a rubber ball. It is a thunderstone.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
Do I know what that is?
It is a fantasy flashbang grenade. So you have like a half a second to do something about that. What do you try to do?
So it's just going to create a visual disturbance?
Yeah, when that is thrown against the ground, it creates a big flash and a loud bang.
Does it blind? Is it like blinding?
It does cause blinding if you don't make the save for it, yes.
Right.
Just quickly looking at.
I'll give you another 10 seconds to come up with a quick plan. Because it's like a split-second decision.
Yeah, I was contemplating what I've got for cantrips here. My best guess is that maybe I can try to cover the visual with another minor illusion. We love illusions, so just like make a shield, a big black shield of some description over it that'll hopefully block the light from getting to.
Yeah, go for it. Is there a roll you need to do for it, or what?
I don't think so. It's just a cantrip, minor illusion.
All right. So, as he's like passing the ball back and forth between his hands, what he passes into his right hand, as you see very quickly, is the Thunderstone. He reels up with a closed fist, so you can't see what he has, to throw it down. You, Katsiana, quickly just send out this like little black dome on the ground where the ball is usually bounced. He throws it down and it lets out a deafening bang. And unfortunately, the light does pass through the illusion. As it is an illusion of a small black dome, it doesn't obstruct anything coming in and out of it, unfortunately. So the flash goes off. Daisy and Knocker, can you guys make me reflex saves to see if you guys suffer any blindness effects? Yes. See if you shield your eyes fast enough. All right, so Daisy, Daisy, you manage to shield your eyes just before this goes off, and as the explosion happens, Knocker, it is insanely loud and super bright, and as the flash goes off, wah! All of the goblins and kobolds and a lot of the spectators are like, ah! And they cover their eyes. You, Daisy, see Crook bounce the ball off the ground still, and it goes soaring high into the air, and he, again, quickly starts to move some pieces around on the board and do the usual mishmash business that seems to follow. Could you roll me a perception, Daisy?
Yes.
Poke him in the eye while everyone's blind.
12. Okay, so he's down there moving pieces around. The ball's going crazy high, and you see as the ball reaches the top of its bounce, it does a little fucking twirl in the air.
Oh my god!
Okay, this guy's clearly cheating, obviously, and that seems to be okay if he can, like, the flashbang's a little obvious. So, I'm going to mess up his moves on the board by using prestidigitation in rapid succession to just make random shit appear on the board so he can't tell what he should.
So, as you're doing that, you're like making different pieces appear and disappear and move around seemingly by themselves. And as you're doing that, like you're casting these like little quick, just in rapid succession, moving pieces around, seemingly doing this and this and this. He does not take his eyes off the board, and as all this stuff is happening, he just giggles to himself like, oh yeah, okay, and he quickly continues to do stuff, and as the ball comes down, it bounces off the ground once, and he holds his palm out facing down, and the ball lands right in his hand. Then he looks over across the thing at you, as a bunch of the spectators are sort of rubbing their eyes. They're like, he bounced that ball so hard it exploded! That's amazing! And a lot of people are really washed back by this. The two goblins that are very suspicious of what's going on, who are watching from either side of the ring, are still present, and they're eyeing the both of you. He hands the ball back over to you, Knocker. What do you do?
Son of a bitch. I'm gonna like whisper to Daisy. I didn't see what happened, and what did he?
Not. I don't know.
Okay, what do you mean you don't know?
There was a lot of stuff happening. I think he's got something. You know, maybe a dragon or a something. He's got something going on.
All right, it's time to up the ante.
And he goes, "Oh, do you say that out loud or?"
Yeah, I'm going to tell him that we're upping the ante. So here's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I'm going to play the game properly, but I'm going to cast Phantasmal Force on him so that it appears to him that I am playing terribly, and I'm hoping that he will make the wrong moves in response to the terrible moves that I appear to be making to him, while I am in fact making good moves on a proper board. Do you understand what I mean?
Okay. So you're gonna. Okay. What does Phantasmal Force
I'm creating
do?
I'm creating a false reality for him. So let me.
Yeah. Link the spell.
Okay. That just did the.
Did psychic damage.
Well, there can be psychic damage associated with it.
My goodness.
I did, but hold on. I'll just read it to you.
Okay.
So anyway, you crafted an illusion that takes root in the mind of the creature you can see within range. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, I create a phantasmal object, creature, or other visible phenomenon, which is in this case the board of my choice, that is no larger than a 10-foot cube, and that is perceivable only to the target for this duration. So it's an illusion only for him. And in his magical little world that I'm creating for him, I'm playing terribly. But from everyone else's perspective, I'm going to be playing correctly. So he's going to be playing a completely different game than the one I'm playing.
All right, and he does have to make an intelligence save in order for this.
Yeah, he has to make an intelligence saving throw.
All right. All right, cool. So you, like, swirling your hands around, cast the spell.
I want to try to mix it into the the action of me throwing the ball.
Yeah, like mix the sort of the somatic components, the sort of hand gestures and everything else into like a very flashy play. All right, so I'm gonna say if you want to conceal the spell as you're casting it, roll me a performance check.
All right. That's my jam.
Yeah, you were crushing this earlier. And yeah, no, Sass Elf, you're absolutely correct. The last game you guys played, you guys were rolling terribly, but now it's all like over 20s, like it's nuts.
Oh no, I'm even talking about my other game I played last week with another DM.
Oh jeez.
I didn't roll above a 9 for 4 hours, with the exception of my very last roll of the night, which is where I wanted to fail.
My god. That's rough. So you do a lot of like elaborate fucking movements. It's very almost Power Rangers-esque with a lot of poses to sort of conceal the hand gestures, and then you bounce the ball on the ground and activate the spell to create an alternate reality where Crook can only see this version of you playing the game terribly. In which you're going to try to coax him into losing by creating a version of the game that is to his advantage, where then he will play in a way that you need him to play. Which is fucking awesome. This is genius. So you bounce the ball, but in reality, to everybody else who's present, you are just playing the game normally. You're just going to be playing it straight and legit. You said, yes?
Correct, yeah.
Alright, so let's see if Buddy here is smart enough to see through your spell, because it's a spell save DC of 14 that he has to make in order to get through it, in order to see through the illusion. He does indeed.
Fuck!
So you cast this spell, and then you bounce the ball,
if he makes the first save.
What's that?
If he makes the first save, then the spell doesn't even take.
it doesn't take hold. So either way, you cast it, and then you bounce the ball, and immediately get into the moves and stuff, and the entire time, he's fucking burrowing a hole through you with his stare. And he's just got this big, ugly, toothy grin on his face, as you're like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then you do your moves, and then the ball bounces up, and you catch it, and then you hand it over to him. Knowing that your spell did not take hold, because he was able to sort of muster through it with his intellect, you hand the ball over to him. Do you say any or do anything as you do it, or do you try to just poker face?
I immediately, when you said poker face, I immediately thought, I'm just gonna poke him in the eye and run away. No, I'm not gonna do that.
I mean, you can. It's his goblin town.
No. I'm just gonna like, as stoically as possible, hand the ball back to him, realizing that this is not working too much.
He smiles a toothy grin, and he goes, "You're good." He takes the ball, and he goes, "But I'm better." And
okay, so as he does that, I have one more thing I'd like to try to do. I want to try to distract him with my Fey presence.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so, you know what? I'm going to throw the Fey presence down on everybody within a 10-foot cube of me, originating from me, and I want them to all be charmed by me. So it's everybody in the 10-foot cube from me has to make a DC 14 Wisdom saving throw, or be charmed by me, and it's only for the end of my next turn, so effectively 12 seconds, but it's just in this moment while he's making his turn, I want him to think that I'm the coolest.
Okay, and that's how Fey Presence works, is that correct?
Yeah, it's just sort of like a radius effect, like a radius, 10-foot radius around me.
Yeah.
He will, yeah, there it is, yeah.
Yeah, bestows upon you the ability to project the beguiling and fearsome presence of the Fae. As an action, you can cause each creature in a 10-foot cube originating from you to make a Wisdom save throw against your Warlock spell save DC. The creatures that fail their saving throws are all charmed or frightened by you, your choice, until the end of your next turn. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Okay, so you absolutely just, like, whoosha! With this spell, is that right?
Yeah, it's not even a spell, it's just an ability, so I just, like, exude this Fey presence, like the power of the forest, the power that the forest has given me, and I want everyone around, you know what, I want everyone around me to be charmed by me, except for him. I want him to be frightened.
Oh, okay. Alright, so...
I want him to be terrified by my awesomeness.
Let's see if he makes his save DC. Let's see if Crook makes it. Spell save DC 14. 14, like, ties goes to the defender. So, you unleash this force of will, upon the area around you, and he is... like, it hits him, and he grits his fucking teeth, against you, and his eyes just narrow in this, like, very serious manner. And everybody else, let's see, let's just do a flat roll. The rest of the crowd goes nuts, as you do this. Everybody goes, whoa, and, like, starts clapping at you, despite the fact that it's not your fucking turn. So the crowd goes nuts. Crook, still having the ball as he's about to bounce it, like, looks at you just dead and then grumbles like, "So that's how you want to play, huh? Alright." And slams the ball down and it rockets up into the air.
I just have a quick question here.
Yes.
Since obviously, you know, the three of us are in on the gambit they were using, and it kind of looks like maybe Crook is using something similar. Did I possibly also notice that? Because, I mean, we're looking for the exact same sort of cheat that we're doing, so...
Yes, I'm gonna say that you were far enough away that, and because you saw him throwing the stone, you had the opportunity to sort of shield your eyes from the blast. You did see the ball, as it was going up, do that strange little fucking twirly Q thing in the air that Knockers does. Now you know, because you're in on the gambit, you know that Knocker's invisible Fey Dragon, his familiar, is lending him assistance. You are unsure how Crook is achieving a similar effect.
I mean, for all we know, he is also some sort of magic user with a familiar. I'm going to go with the assumption that maybe he also has an assistant, an invisible assistant. Looking at like roughly the height where it made that loop-de-loo last time, where it made the funny corkscrew, I'm going to use Druidcraft just above that height to, the harmless effect of, and I'm going to make like a falling shower of a whole bunch of really, really, really tiny blossoms. So it's like fine motes of dust that would outline the creature that it lands on.
Oh, so you're creating like a dust in that area.
Yeah, like it's like an explosion of pollen just above it, so that it'll outline the creature and show there's something there.
Okay, so as you do that, the ball soars high into the air, and you see as it reaches the top of its area and does its little twirl inside that sort of like cloud of like plant pollen and dust and stuff like that, there appears to be, surrounding the ball, a little force field. So there's like a larger ball around it. You don't catch the shape of a creature, but you do catch just the fact that there does seem to be some force around the ball. And as it twirls around through the air, as it's up there, do you guys, I want you guys all to roll a perception on Crook as he is making his moves.
Crooking, as they say.
Alright, so Katsiana, you hit it on the nose. You can see he's definitely employing some sleight of hand. And as he's doing some stuff, you see as he's moving some parts around and he's doing a very similar gambit to what Knocker was doing, you can see that there is definitely some illusion magic at play.
So I would like to grab the ball in midair and throw it at his head.
Okay. So as the ball's doing its like little tricky thing around the air, you want to attempt to grab it and then whip it at him?
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a dexterity check first. I want to see if you can actually get your hands around it.
I'll have my +4 from Katsiana.
Yep.
Plus D4.
Dex. Okay, 7 plus a D4. That's a 4. That's 11. So you dive at the ball that's in midair, going into the spore cloud, and sort of, unfortunately, not illustrating yourself very well, but it does give away the presence of another object that's up there, and you go for the ball, but then your hand immediately makes contact with the outside of some strange force. Some kind of force field that's around the ball itself. And you're sort of gripping and grasping at it, but then as the ball does its little trick, you're like grabbing and then it slips as it goes down, and it zips out of your fingers as it slips down, and then the ball bounces off the ground and he catches it in an open palm.
I'm kind of hoping that they'll think that my presence was his cheat. Is there some way to maximize that idea?
Well, as you did fly into the cloud to get your hands on the ball itself, it did disturb a lot of the sort of pollen, organic cloud dust stuff that was up there. And yeah, you see in that moment, one of the two goblins that's sort of like almost an unofficial referee, like the two guys that are very suspiciously watching you guys, one of them is eyeing you up there very hard. Do you stay in the cloud of pollen, or do you exit?
I will exit.
Okay. At this point, the game of Mishmash is still neck and neck. There's one round left. He hands the ball back over to you, Knocker. What do you do?
All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to. I don't know if this will work.
Okay.
But I'm going to try to cast Magic Stone on the ball, so that it is charged as a throwing weapon. Then I'm going to bounce it off the ground. Daisy's going to catch it, and then whip it at his face.
Okay. Now, so you're going to bounce the ball off the ground. Daisy's going to catch it midair and then chuck it at his head. And then...
Yeah.
And then what? Are you going to continue trying to play, or are you just going to cheese it?
No. I want it... I guess I just want, like, it to feel like he couldn't catch the ball and it hurt him. I want everyone else to, like, think that he's weaker than me because he couldn't catch the ball, and for some reason a ball hurt him as it was flying down towards the ground. And so I want to play up on that, just like, oh, I'm sorry, was the ball moving too quickly for you? And then,
okay, so
make the moves.
You want to play your round legitimate, and then when it's his turn and he bounces the ball, you want Daisy to basically ricochet the ball off his head before it comes down, to make him fumble, effectively. And then capitalize on the fact that the crowd loves you and that he looks like a doofus.
That's what I wanted to, That's what I wanted to do on his last turn, but Daisy couldn't get a grab of couldn't get a hold of the ball. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he protects it again with that force field. I'm not sure she's gonna be able to get it. So
I could smack him to grab it.
Smack it down at him. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll do my turn.
So yeah,
I guess I'll do my turn normal then.
You do your turn normal.
I guess I'll just
you bounce the ball. You move the pieces into a very strategic position, and it's a very sort of like the gambit that you're using now is like it's very risky, but it counts on the fact that he will fail his next move. If he fails his next move, then you win, and you put yourself in a very good spot for that victory. You hand the ball back over to Crook. He slyly is eyeing you, as you seem to have played a legitimate round, and he kind of looks.
I will have cast Magic Stone on the ball though, so that it will be charged and ready to hit him in the face.
Charged with energy. Yeah. Okay. So as you hand it back to him, he kind of like rolls the ball around in his fingers playfully as he looks at you and goes, "Well, you've played yourself a good game. But I'm better," and he bounces the ball off the ground because he can't come up with another one-liner. The ball rockets into the sky, and once again, you see him moving pieces around on the board, and there's maybe a little bit of illusion involved in it, and then the ball does its little twirl in the cloud. You see that orb around it again, and then it starts to make its way back down. Daisy, give me...
I'm readying an action
okay.
so that if it looks like he's going to pull this off, right before he goes to catch the ball, I want to puff of wind with my Druidcraft the ball so it just misses his hand.
Okay, so we got like a backup. If it looks like he's about to catch it, you're going to try to use a little gust of wind to capitalize on it and to push the ball out of his hand.
If nothing else, I just want him to look like an ass.
Awesome. So, Daisy, give me a... I don't know if I wanted to do dex roll or an attack action to swat the ball. I'm going to say because you're trying to hit the ball like mid-air, give me a dexterity roll with your plus 1d4. Woo! Okay, what's that extra? All right, so 27. You absolutely crack into this ball as it's coming down. You notice though, as it's on its way down, the force field's not present. and you make direct contact with this rubber ball, and what everybody else sees is him move his pieces around on the board into a victorious position, and then holds his hand out to catch the ball as it's coming down. The ball, as it's coming down, suddenly changes direction and careens into his face, bouncing off of his head, and he stands there in silent shock for like half a minute. The seconds just tick away as you're standing there, and his mouth is just open. Magic Stone, you're one bludgeoning. Yeah, he's got like a
It will also
welt.
deal 5 points of damage to him.
So he's got this welt in the middle of his head, and he's just stone stuck, absolutely staggered, and the referee who is standing there, everyone's just dead quiet, and he's just, we have ourselves a winner of Mishmash, and the crowd goes nuts. Everybody goes absolutely insane. The people in the audience go completely crazy with what's going on, and it's just insanity all the way across the board. People are cheering, clapping, going wild, and the crook who's standing across from you is still standing there with just his mouth open, completely flabbergasted by what's happened. And as people continue cheering and freaking out, the referee comes over to you and goes, "This goblin here has played a better game of Mishmash than anyone so far in the history of this afternoon. You, sir, have cheated better than anyone has ever cheated at this game." And everybody goes nuts, and they cheer again. There's a raucous roar of applause, and people throw at you what appears to be a lot of dead bugs, and they land in little piles around your feet. It appears to be like the goblin version of confetti. And some of them are like, "Yeah! Ooh, bugs!" And they just whip them at you.
I'll eat the bugs.
Yeah, no, that as is their custom, it seems. Crook, who's standing across from you, rubbing his forehead, smiles, walks over to you, and offers his hand to shake, and goes, "I gotta tell you, I've never been beat. Not like that."
Well, man, I tell you what, I think we could have a beautiful partnership brewing.
He smiles to you a crooked, toothy smile, and goes, "Yeah, I'd like that. If you ever have some fun you want to get up to, or you want to get into some kind of, shenanigans around town or something, let me know." And he kind of gives you a little nod and mills back into the crowd.
I'm going to, I will stand up on the board, like just standing on the pieces, knocking them all over. I had to put my arms up in the air, and I'm going to make fireworks with my silent image spell, yeah.
So
and
yeah,
I will add sound effects to the fireworks.
You guys let off all of these fireworks, just this display of magic and wonder, and the people around you let out another roar of cheers as you were doled champion. The referee/organizer people are all kind of nodding to each other about how, yeah, that was some solid cheating. Like, there was use of good illusion magic here and there. There was also some other stuff happening that they've never seen before that was just absolutely wild, and oh my gosh. And the two organizers walk up to you, and Specs, the one with the huge glasses on, goes, "Congratulations, Knocker. It is very good to see that you've made yourself at home here in our community. We're hoping that perhaps you can find a more permanent home with us here in the Goblin Complex, and you have won this." And he holds out to you a jar full of dead bugs, and he goes, "This is your prize today."
I am ecstatic. I say, I shall savor every single morsel. And
You
I'm going to
looking
open
in
the
the
jar.
jar? Oh, looking in the jar, it is filled with an exotic assortment of beetles. Some of them are very shiny. They have a lot of wild colors. If you bite into one of them, it is a raucous cacophony of flavors that you have never experienced before in bugs that you found in the woods. Or at the very least, they are a rare delicacy to you. The other goblins that are standing there watching as you sort of have this jar of bugs that's bequeathed to you, they all gasp in reverent honor of the fact that you've been given something that is apparently very valuable to them.
As I bite into the beetle, a single tear rolls down my cheek, and I savor the flavor of this beautiful beetle. And I put the cap back on, and I say, "I'll save the rest for later." And I shall stroll triumphantly off into the crowd.
As you say that you're gonna save that for later, Specs is like, very wise, and he nods to you, and the orc standing next to him goes, "Oh my god, this is so gross," and just like rolls her eyes and walks away. And then, yeah, as you head to the entrance of Goblin Town, you see Benjamin is still standing there waiting for you. It is in still the earlier half of the afternoon, maybe about 3-4 in the afternoon. And he sees you as you walk up, and he goes, "Ah, yes, it appears that congratulations are in order, it would seem. You're fitting right in.
Yeah, look
with
at
the
my
rest of the
bugs.
goblins. Those are quite rare beetles, I'm told."
Yeah, they're delicious. Well, this has been a great afternoon. Thank you for showing me around this goblin quarter. Do you guys have anywhere you want to go? I mean, maybe there's some other tournament we can scam, like a different tournament. I'm pretty good at scamming tournaments. Is basically what I'm trying to get at.
Benjamin goes, "Well, there is the marketplace that has a few shops that you may be interested in having a look at. There are also a number of taverns and hostels and hotels that I could bring you around to so that you may choose your accommodations for the evening. As well as, I mean, it would take a bit of travel, but there are some of the more tribal folk who live around the woods that I could take you on a tour to visit those over the next few days, should that please you."
Well, I wouldn't mind going to see the shops, but I hope they take beetles because I don't have any money.
And he goes, "Well, I mean, there is always window shopping." And he turns to the other two members of the group and goes, "Is there anywhere in specific that interests you? Any shops or certain things that you would be looking for within our fair kingdom?"
I like fruit.
Come on, Daisy, dream bigger. Magic items or something.
I also like and fruit.
And he goes, "Well, if you're looking for magic items, there is Shaman's Enchanted Shop that I could take you to, and there is also the fruit section of the market, if you would like to go check that out."
All right, we'll go check the fruit section first because I know that's what you.
Okay. And he sort of like, with a little bob of his knees, turns about on his heel, and then makes his way off into the market area. And with that, I am going to switch our view back over to what is happening within the ritual space inside the castle.
And I would like to formally apologize to everyone for the tone whiplash.
That's fine. And as we're changing, I just want to make a note quickly for the folks at home that you guys still have the ability for the next while to get in on our Ragaful. It's $5 a ticket. Vinx currently is the only person who's made the donation, and he has made 3 tickets in, $15. So if you guys want to hop in on that, go right ahead, and you may yet win yourself some games this evening. I'd also like to extend a huge thank you to the people in our community who donated those Steam keys to us so that we may give some things back to you guys at the community. First off, the Always Sometimes Monsters was donated to us by Calendros. Hacknet was donated to us by Magnoth Redux, and Esteban was the one who donated Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. So feel free to drop in those donations and gobble up some tickets there. We've seen even one ticket can oftentimes wildly win you some things. It's very strange, but we've seen it happen many a time here, where one person just buys one ticket and sweeps a board. So, yes, that is that. All right. Getting on back to our other business here. Where is it? Yeah, I know, I gotta definitely make time for that. There we go. Back down deep under the ground, within the catacombs beneath the Palace of the Falling Leaves, in the ritual room, the king stands with Ophelia, the Mind Flayer wizard, whom he's brought on as his assistant through some of the rituals. As you guys begin, the first thing he does is approach you, Ophelia, and holds his hand out to you.
The gem.
And to him.
Was that? Sorry, you cut out a bit.
She hands it over.
Okay.
Places it gently in his hands.
Yes. So taking, God damn, this thing's busting up on me. Taking the gem, he turns and walks back over to one of the tables that's against the far wall. Placing it on a sort of large brass bowl, he then begins to mix a series of herbs and other objects into a mortar and pestle to one side.
The trick will be to augment this gem in such a way that it will serve our purpose, but not appear obvious to those who gaze upon it. We must change it without changing it.
And he mixes a bunch more herbs together, grinding them into this mortar and pestle. It seems strange as you observe him do this, because very specifically, he's doing this with his hands. Gripping the gem, he did so with his hands, moving the herbs and other objects into the mortar and pestle, and then grinding it up. He's doing it himself, instead of gesturing and having the objects float around the room, as you've seen him do before when in the throne room. Sorry, go ahead.
I see this ritual requires a bit more of a delicate touch.
It does. Though there is always a certain satisfaction from getting one's hands dirty. It reminds me of a time long past. Come, I need you for this step.
And he gestures for you to come over to the table with him.
And she'll approach the table, kind of standing close to him, but definitely feeling that kind of pressure from just surrounding her, and just kind of puts her hand on that brand on her chest a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, seemingly unconsciously.
It's definitely an intense experience being here. And as you approach him, do me an Arcanum check. Arcana.
Oh, sorry, I just clicked off my sheet. Boom.
Okay, so you recognize a lot of the components being used here. Some of them are curiously mundane. You see there's like leaves and a couple of bones. You recognize that mushroom. You know what that herb is, and you see them being mixed together. This is illusion magic, but there appears to be a great deal of like a custom twist on it. As he seems to be adding in a few other herbs that you recognize, but aren't. You're like, he's like doing this and he's mixing it, and you go, oh, okay, I know that spell. No, but then why's the wormwood there? That's not for this spell. Okay, so then if he's adding that, then he must be trying to bring out this. Okay, but then now why's that mushroom in here? Okay, and you're it's definitely complex. And
But I'm kind of following along, but just like that's okay. We're taking a left turn, okay. But I kind of see where we're going, and like these 2 spells maybe, and then but what's the okay?
yeah, it's like okay, and it's you're following along very much like a junior mechanic watching a mechanic like fix a car. Like you know the parts, but every now and then they do something that you've not seen before, and you're sort of learning as you go along. As he finishes mixing them into the mortar and pestle, he then turns to you and asks,
I require a small drop of your blood, but I will not take it without your consent.
and he holds
And
the bowl out to you.
without even saying a word, she just takes the strangely glowing dagger from her belt and slices across the pad of her thumb and just holds it over the bowl as a drop or 2 falls into it.
A drop or 2 of blood falls into the bowl and mixes in with the herbs in a manner that is almost unnatural. You recognize this as a bonding agent for this ritual, that using a bit of blood magic mixed in with everything else that's there definitely gives it a potency that you are familiar with. It acts as like a bind. As the drops mix in, though, with his other hand, he reaches over and just gently holds the side of your hand, and the wound on your thumb immediately closes.
She kind of shivers at the
okay?
strange sensation. That was me. I had a bag near the microphone.
Okay. I was just like, is everybody alright? Somebody's freaking out. But yeah, magically, he casts a spell that closes the wound. And then picks the stick up again from the table and begins to mix it in. You can tell now, as he's mixing the ingredients together, with your blood acting as the bonding agent, a lot of the magical properties of each of the components is being drawn out. And starts to swirl within the mortar and pestle itself. He then takes the mortar out, puts the bowl down on the table, and then gestures to you.
Using the paste from within this bowl, spread it over the gem. It must be you.
Putting her hands into the bowl and kind of getting not like a handful of this sticky, grainy paste. Where is the gem right now?
The gem is sitting on like a large brass. It's like a mixture between like it's a bowl that seems to be just large enough to hold the gem in an upright position, and there's like a bit of a pedestal to it that holds the bowl up.
So a giant egg cup.
Yeah. A big old egg cup, holding a big old egg.
So she just kind of takes a few steps over to it, and starts from the top, smoothing it down over the egg, kind of going from the back, all in like one smooth motion as much as she can. Kind of feeling the weird magics kind of swirl through her fingers and kind of like travel up her arms and tingles a little bit as she's spreading it around.
Yeah, as you're spreading the paste over top of the gem, every area that you spread it over, it vanishes, and it seems to almost seep into the gem itself. But as you're spreading it over and you're going over it and you're making sure that you get every area in an even coat, every area that you spread it on, it disappears. You definitely feel that, like you described, you definitely feel that tingling sensation as you're casting what is very sophisticated ritual illusion magic over top of this, and you've as you finish up, the bowl stands empty of the strange glowing blue paste, and the gem for all intents and purposes, appears to be unchanged.
Good.
Before
Yeah.
stepping away, she'll take that same thumb that she cut and just kind of try and like run her finger over the gem. What do I feel?
Roll me an Arcana check. And while you're doing that, I want to address a thing that's happened because I just got really into the scene and I missed a thing. Palanthir donated $25. He bought 5 tickets and he said, "Let's make this interesting. 1 ticket for me and 1 ticket for each of the players."
Palanthir! Oh, I love you! Yay! Thank
Wow,
you.
thank you so much.
Yeah, so we got
lovely.
Palanthir's got 1. And then we got 1 for Badger. Badger's got 1. And we got 1 for Star. That's 1. And we got 1 for Phoenix. There we go. There we go.
Ooh, thank
All
you.
right. And
thank
1
you.
for Sass Elf. Bam. Bam. All right.
Thank you, Palan.
Yee. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
that's really
Sa-
awesome. Thank you so much. That's
Thank you so much for the donation, and that's gonna make when we come down to it. That's gonna make it very exciting at the end of the stream. So thank you so much. All right, so with an Arcana roll of 17, it's hard to tell through the really intense interference that you're experiencing in the room, but as you run your thumb down the side of the gem, you're still feeling that it's not hunger. It's an emptiness, a space in this gem. It's almost as like, God, you could swear it was like one of those bags of holding, but it's not meant to hold things. It's meant to hold essence, energy. This was your family's reverent treasure, and it seems to have carried a great portion of Umalaut's essence into this continent. But now the gem stands empty. As you run your fingers over it, you do sense that illusion magic is trying to keep it looking empty and untainted. Whatever the energy is that's in this room, we need to make sure that none of it remains, at least visible on this gem going out.
Okay.
Once that's finished, he nods as you're sort of running your thumb across it.
It is done. Hopefully, these illusions will hold unto the endless gaze of Umlaut. Illusions are a thing that he enjoys. I pray this is enough to fool even his gaze.
Walking over, he carefully picks the gem up out of the bowl and walks into the center of the room.
This next bit may be difficult for you.
And standing at the center of the room, next to the small pool of water, he holds the gem out to you.
Taking a deep breath, she kind of just shrugs back her, squares her shoulders back, and then just confidently walks over to him.
Place the gem within the pool, and when you do so, guard your mind.
Taking it from the king's hands, she pauses a moment and kneels down in one smooth motion the entire time. What's going through her head is, if we've placed an illusion magic on this to make it seem like it's still a tool of his, but it's secretly one of ours, I can only hope that I'll be able to do the same with myself when the time comes to be able to infiltrate and go and take him down. And
We all hope as much. You are one of his people, or at the very least, You were. This will allow you to move through his territory relatively unchallenged so long as the correct precautions are made. Once you cross over into its realm, though, things will become exponentially difficult. You must be careful.
Hearing him say that, she kind of pauses for a second before she puts it in the water. I didn't say that out loud.
Yep. Roll me a will save.
Wisdom save. Wait, sorry, I think I need to check something. No, that's not. No, it's intelligence saves. Damn it. Okay.
Okay. So you have rolled, as it appears, a 10.
Yes.
Okay,
to be clear, I have not put it in the water yet.
Okay. I thought you said you did put it down in the pool.
No, she was about to, and hearing the king address her, she pulls it back for a second and stops and stares at him.
Yep.
So she hasn't put it in the water yet.
Because she's standing there staring at him.
And she's just like, I was thinking that to myself. Do I need to steal my mind from you too?
Presently, you stand within my heart. Some things may become known to me. Do you trust me, Ophelia?
Just kind of takes a deep breath and just goes, yes. And now she places it in the water.
Placing the gem into the pool, the cool, clean water runs up the sides of your fingers as you place it in. The water itself is not even a foot deep. And if you were to put your hands into it, it would barely occlude your hands before you hit the bottom of this tiny pool. But as your fingers touch the surface of the water and you feel the cool water running up your fingers as you place the gem down, the second the gem makes contact with the bottom of the pool, your mind is assaulted with visions of somewhere. Initially, as you sort of regain consciousness within wherever these memories, these visions are, you see there is a large golden palace, and inside this huge sprawling room there are flags that hang on the walls, everything made from white marble and golden metal. There are guards that stand beneath each of the flags. Each of them appears to be an elf, wearing an adorned golden armor. The sun seems to shine through every window, as everything appears bright and warm and wonderful. Walking towards you down the long, sprawling throne room, this great hall, is what appears to be an elven woman. She stands at medium height with a medium build. She's young and beautiful with long ears and long, impossibly golden hair. She regards you as you approach, smiling warmly. And she declines her head in a polite nod as a ruler would do to someone else. "Satyrus," she says, "it warms me to see you again." Your mind pulls back out of the vision. You find yourself standing again at the pool, your hands now at your side.
Without saying anything, she just turns and looks at the king with a questioning look in her eye. Does he say anything?
He silently watches you as you look at him confused.
You were part of the Empire.
His eyes go from looking to you down at the pool.
Once, I was many things. Millennia ago, I was many things.
She sits there, her hands shaking as she tries to hide them inside the sleeves of her robes. As she tries to hold back kind of a trauma response.
Mm-hmm. In silence, he stands with you and just regards you quietly.
And at the moment, she won't say anything else.
He continues to wait in silence for pretty much as long as you do, until you have questions or speak or move. He will continue to wait.
Sitting there for a few minutes, finally getting her hands under control, her heart still absolutely racing. She will reach for the gem in the water and attempt to pull it out.
As your hands, again, because you reach into the water in an attempt to grab the gem. As you reach in, your hands make contact with the water again, and you grab the sides of the gem, and your mind is assaulted again. Do me another wisdom save.
Slightly
15.
better.
Okay. The same sensation slams into you. Just 1,000 memories washing past you, and it's just this rush of color and light and noise and terror and hatred. And that is this such a powerful underlying current that you feel. Deep underneath this is hatred. You see an army marching out towards the monstrous hosts. This great marching army of humans and dwarves and elves making their way north. There are flashes of them clashing with monsters, their numbers being destroyed over and over and over again, and the Empire falling again and again and again. And You see yourself again within this great throne hall, only now some of the banners that you saw upon the walls are missing. Some of the guards that stood beneath them absent. The sun no longer shines through the windows. The room, still made from the same white stone and golden metal, now seems hollow, cold somehow, in the presence of what appears to be a dark time. Sitting upon the throne at the far side, you see this elven woman again, sitting in her seat, weeping at your approach. The memory stutters and staggers and jitters around as she shrieks and screams at you, calling you a monster. Over and over you hear a man plead, speaking of how he won the war, about how he saved this kingdom, saved her people. She calls for her guards to come and take him away. The memories begin to speed, things move faster, hatred and sorrow swirl within your mind as this individual is cast inside of a pit. An endless, bottomless swirl of vortex, and then nothing. There is what feels to be washing past you centuries of darkness, hatred, and heartache. The memory pulls back, and you find yourself sitting again in the ritual room, gripping the egg in your hands.
As she kneels there with gripping this egg, her knuckles white, just tears are streaming down her face. And Seth, kind of feeling her distress, would have kind of rushed over from whatever corner of the room he was inspecting to kind of crawl up and curl around her neck like he does when he understands she needs calming. And as her grip releases from the egg, she just brings a hand up to her face and realizes that she's been silently crying this whole time. And once again looks up at the Black King. I don't understand. First you were with them, then you led their armies against the goblins and the orcs and the monsters and the trolls and everyone.
Yes.
And
as I said, I was many things. I was wrong, most of all. I was wrong. The other underlords, like myself, they were once men, like me. We were a circle of magi. We fought for the Empire. I thought we were bringing peace, giving everyone a fair space to live. I didn't know any better.
And now what? You seek to make amends for centuries of killing by being this benevolent protector?
I want to make it right. I want to save these people. All of them. They deserve to live on this world just the same as anyone. And for all the Empire's wrongdoing, for all their misguidedness, I would fix it. I would bring an end to the suffering. the conflict. Bring the other entities like myself to heal. And with that power, I could fix it. I could heal the land. Give everyone a home above ground.
Suffering hasn't ended. What you started, they've been at it for centuries. There's a reason why there's always a constant stream of people seeking out the Black Gates.
Yes.
Of seeking sanctuary.
For thousands of years, my consciousness lied in a gap between dimensions. It took me millennia of suffering in order to finally coalesce this.
And he gestures at the pool in the center of the room.
I began with this. Building out from here, I created this world, a haven for those I once persecuted, the people I once hunted, so that they could live here in peace until I could give them a better home. This labor is mine. I created this suffering. I must end it. But I cannot do this alone.
Taking the gem in hand, she'll stand and, using the back of one sleeve, she'll try to wipe away the worst of her tears and just kind of like put her hand on Seth reassuringly. These last few days have just been retreading. The entire destruction of everything I knew. Oh, and I didn't perceive it to go back all the way to the beginning.
10,000 years ago, there was a great war between the Empire and all the other creatures of this world. The Empire wanted more land. They wanted to expand out. They didn't want to share with other creatures they deemed uncivilized. It is only the smallest comfort to me that at that time they considered halflings to not be on that list.
And he does a motion that you would almost look like a chuckle.
Over time, at first, the Emperor sought to simply carve out the land that he needed for his people so that they could live in peace. It wasn't a matter of killing people or pushing them off their land. It was about finding space for everyone. But us at the Wizards College, we didn't know. We couldn't have known. How violent, how bloody and desperate it became. But such as it was. As conflicts grew with the monsters, we were told that they simply started to attack us for being different than them. Truth was, we were burning their villages, killing their people, taking their land. Eventually, war fully broke out. War that lasted centuries. Near the end, the Empire was losing, and they became desperate. They employed devastating magics at their last stand. Their final battle against the hordes of the beasts. The monstrous races did not survive. Then the Empire took hold of its land. And as thanks for all the sacrifices we made to build a better world, I was cast into an abyss, thrown from this dimension. A fitting end, I suppose.
And he gazes down into the pool.
Question. The banners I would have seen in the hall in the vision, are any of them similar to the banners that hang in his current throne room?
They are the exact same.
So, you intend to start an empire of your own in some sick shadow of what the Empire of Light is doing? Recreating images of your past?
I carry those banners as reminders. Reminders of those who I helped. The hatred I must extinguish. The world that I need to build better.
I see it differently. I see it as emblazoning and showing with utmost contempt, pride, the symbols of the houses and the people who led, of everyone who you now try to protect. It's as if you can't coincide the two sides. Part of you
None
still
remember those symbols but me. None know those houses, those bloodlines, any of those people. None remember them, save for me. I must remember them. I cannot forget those who put me here, those who put you here, who caused all this destruction. Every day I look at them, and I remember the people that I am against. But I cannot do it alone. I'm not strong enough.
And what would be the thing? Finally have you bring them down.
Using this gem, I could contain the essence of another Underlord. That would feasibly, depending on how he's been caring for himself, double my power. This would give me more influence on the surface. This would allow me to help you more. This would allow us to help our kingdom more. And eventually, hopefully, at some point, we will be able to reverse the damage that was done to the surface. A place that you may know, the monstrous wastes.
She just kind of puts one hand to her head and just tries to massage. Just, there's so many things to try and work through between that and the visions my father gave me. It's all so muddled.
Do not push yourself. I know that this this can be a very difficult experience. The plan that you are a part of, my child, has been going on for thousands of years. The end goal is for us to live peaceably on the surface. An end to the Empire's tyranny. But most of all, an end to the hatred between peoples.
She turns to face him fully and just inclines her head. Please don't think that I am not grateful for the amount of trust you've put in me to allow me into this place, to assist, to see some of your past. It's a lot to process.
It is, and I am sorry that you've had to endure this. Thousands of years of torture and hatred brought me only this.
And he gestures again to the little pool that sits in the center of the room.
My center, my heart. From here, I was able to build a haven, a home for all of those people that I had left stranded, all of them who I'd hurt, until I'm strong enough to challenge the Empire directly, in such a way that will not bring harm to any of our people. We must continue to work in secrecy, in the shadows. When that day comes, we will then be able to step into their light and make the world better.
One thing you said, though, is untrue. You are not the only person who knows what happened now.
True. As it stands, there may be a few entities who remember things as they were back then. Some survive for that long.
I more meant a little closer to home.
You also know this, yes. And I would trust that for the safety of our people, we keep this between ourselves.
It goes without saying.
Many of them would not understand.
If it got out, it would trigger a massive civil war.
Then they would no longer be safe. Their haven destroyed through confusion and fear. I do not want that.
With that, she nods and just kind of gestures to the gem. So everything is complete with this now?
You must place it in the pool, and then we can continue the ritual.
Oh, I thought we were done. Okay. And she just...
No.
Okay. So she puts it back, this time avoiding the water.
Very gingerly you place it back in, avoiding touching any of the water in the pool, and you seem fine. It thuds at the bottom of the little pool, as it does before, and you pull your hands away. He steps forward and stands just at the opposite side of the tiny pool in front of you.
Stand.
She gets up.
He reaches out with one of his bony hands and gently places it on top of your head. In that moment, just as his hand lands on the top of your head, a light erupts from the pool between the two of you and seems to grow in a large cylinder and encompasses the room. In that moment, you, with your, instead of seeing like other memories, you feel like a weird trigger in your mind about the memories your father imparted to you. Specifically, the memories that he had from the Black Isle, the large obsidian black island that is to the north and east of this continent. The huge, maddening portal that stands inside, and the realm beyond filled with impossible architecture and strange stairways that fold in on each other, as well as a million other things. But specifically through those memories, you are drawn to an altar. A small, simple altar that appears to be in one of the catacombs, just down one of these tunnels, right, then left, then left, then left, then left 5 more times, strangely. It's a small stone altar, seemingly plain and unimpressive, abandoned almost.
This is the location. Here you must bring the gem.
And then all at once, the light is out, and you're standing back in the room, across the portal, or the pool, from the king. He reaches down into the pool, gripping the gem, brings it up, and hands it to you.
Kind of trying to shake the light and the memory from her eyes. She reaches out with both hands to grasp it.
As you grasp it, the gem seems to feel the same. Like, it doesn't seem changed. It doesn't seem like it's any different. But the king looks down to it.
This gem is now a prison. When placed upon the altar, the heart of Umalat, it will consume and contain his essence, his consciousness within it. We are lucky in this regard. He built this gem to house his essence already. We simply need to use it now to draw in and contain the entirety of himself. Once that is done, you will need to exit that realm swiftly.
She nods in understanding.
Have you any more questions before we conclude?
How are we to get into this realm? The Isle is there, but to enter what is essentially a different dimension, I don't have that power as of yet.
Umala considers himself as untouchable on the other side of the sea. With the ocean between himself and the main continent, he feels he does not need to elude or hide the entrance to his realm. The large gate of madness stands open and defiant in the center of his island. You need only to reach it. My power, unfortunately, is confined to this realm. The amount of assistance I can give you on the surface world is considerably lessened, and within his realm, even more so. You must be careful.
So we will be on our own.
I will bring with you as much assistance as I can. For example,
and he gestures to the dagger at your side.
There's space within this dagger. I can put within it a spell that you can carry with you.
Did you have anything in mind?
Not off the top of my head. Think on it. Meditate on what you have seen and heard today. Return to me tomorrow. Consider what magics you would like to carry with you from me, and how you would like to assist our kingdom and the continent of Emeron going forward.
And she kind of, her twitches in like an elephant smirk. And she's like, we can't have the Leshen come with us, can we?
He shakes his head.
Unfortunately, his services are required here.
Yeah. And she just kind of chuckles a little. I can't think of anything else at the moment.
That's okay. He, like, nods to you and then ushers you out the door. Following you back to the main area, he then declines his head in a small royal bow and makes his way into the throne room, disappearing behind the large obsidian stone doors. You are left standing in one of the courtyard areas, or not the courtyard, one of the, like, the hallways within the Palace of Falling Leaves, holding a gem and a bit more clarity as to what's going on.
She will very quickly put the gem in her pouch so it is out of view, and have her legs collapse under her as she gets to the stairs and just kind of sit down very hard.
just have a sit and a think about everything that's going on. All right. So for that episode, I think we're gonna wrap it up about now because we've hit 10 o'clock, and I think that's a pretty cool spot to hit her for the evening. But thank you everybody for coming on out to our wonderful game this evening. This has been a tremendous amount of fun, and now we're gonna get on into this Raggleful that's going on. I'm gonna give you guys another 4 minutes to, if anybody wants to get in on the Raggleful. These are the people that we've got today. Here, let me just go down here to display capture. Nope, not that one. Window capture. Boop, there we go. So yeah, there we go, ladies and gents. Let's put this back where it's supposed to be. There. Alright. Boop, there we are. We got a Raggleful, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for being dense. Is there any way / anywhere for those of us who missed the initial run of the A-Team's adventures to get caught up? Yes, Death Watch has been taking all of these, I believe, and putting them up on YouTube. If you want to go to the Discord and ask him about it, he can tell you where it can be found. I have also been downloading them, but I haven't been putting them up anywhere. That being said, I want to give, while we have a moment here before the Raggleful gets started, I want to give a big thanks out to our players that we have this evening. We got Sass Elf as Ophelia, our Mind Flayer Wizard.
Whose mind has been flayed in an entirely different way. Yay!
And
I apologize, everyone, for the tone whiplash we've been having tonight.
It is all over the place, this thing. Personally, I love it. I want to give it also a huge thanks to Badger, who's playing our Goblin Warlock Knocker.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. That was really fun.
You won the Mishmash tournament, my man.
Woo!
And a huge thanks as well to Phoenix playing Katsiana, our she.
Yeah, fun times trying to keep up with wacky goblin adventures. Happy to be along.
That's right. And as well, thank you to Star for coming along and playing Knocker's familiar Daisy Sunwing, Wolf Fairy Dragon.
Woohoo! That was fun. Thanks.
Oh, that was so cool. And Vinx also dropped another $15, garnering himself 3 more tickets. So we got Vinx has got the first 6 tickets, and then the 5 tickets that follow that go to each of you lovely people, Palanthea, Badger, Star, Phoenix, or Sasself. And good night to you, Clay. You have yourself a good old snooze, my guy. And I'm gonna move that over there. Oh shit! Mango Toad coming in! Alright, we're gonna put those just after Vinx. We're gonna go Mango. Toad has got himself 4 tickets! 4 tickets for him. Swell. Oh, shit! Alright. Doot. Where's the button for the raffles? That's not it. It's that button. There we go. Alright. Hooray.
Like, that is definitely not the button for the raffles.
It is not. No, that is a different button. Alright, so let's also shrink this down just a touch. I'm going to move that over here so that we can get them both on the screen at the same time. Alright, so we're going to be rolling AD 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1d15. The first 6 is Vinx, and then the next 4 is Mango Toad, and then beyond 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's each of you guys there. And it is 10-10, so ladies, we're going to close that gate. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close that gate for donations. Ladies and gentlemen, for our first game this evening, Always Sometimes Monsters, our winner is number 13. That would be Star!
Yay! Congrats, Star!
Woo! Hooray! Congratulations! You got yourself a copy of a Steam game called Always Sometimes Monsters.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
Yeah. Alright. And coming up next, our winner of the game Hacknet. Also on Steam, our victor for that is number 11. That's Palanthea! Congratulations!
Oh, Palan!
Woo! Alright. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for our final winner of the game Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, a psychological thriller that came out originally on the PS4, now available on Steam. Our winner is number 1, it's Vinx! Hooray! Vinx! You walk away with a copy of Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice! Alright. Awesome. I will get those keys to you guys after the stream, or sometime soon thereafter, in case I accidentally fall asleep before then, because that's happened more than once. Congratulations, Vinx. I know that was the one you were specifically after, so I'm super happy for you. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out to our wonderful stream here. Thank you, players, for coming along on this adventure. I'm hoping you guys are having a good time, because this has been such a blast to run for you. Thank you, everybody who's come out to watch this, for your views, your bits and subscriptions, your donations, and your love. This has been absolutely wonderful. I'm going to be back again streaming tomorrow with Steve, so instead of doing Mountain Blade Bannerlord, we're going to be doing some other stuff. But until then, I'm Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius, Dr. Terrawad. This is our Lair 4.0, and I will see you tomorrow on our next live stream. End of line.